Okay, so I decided that I'm going to try and start my hand at knife making, and first part is I'm going to try and make my own micarta. And so I got this resin that I had left over here from a project I did with my kids. I'm going to use this before I buy some more expensive stuff. This is my first time doing it, so I want to use what I got before I spend up a whole bunch of money using stuff. So I'm going to go with this. And it's just a two-part. Right here, you got your hardener and you got your resin. So we're going to use that. I'm going to mix that up, and then I'm going to put it into this makeshift press here. And I'll kind of go over that before I mix this all up here. So this is just wax paper, but I got my my plate that I'm going to put down on top to make sure everything's level, and it's a nice even, you can see, straight piece of board that I got, and I just cut it to size. And this will be the plate I'm going to put on top to make sure that I don't crack this with the pressure. I'm going to use some clamps to clamp this down, and then put the pressure on to press the rest of it. And so I cut up an old blanket I had, took all the filler out of it and everything, and I'm going to layer these out. These are going to be my individual layers here, and you can see that I've got several different things. Now this part right here, this little red part right here, this felt or fluff or whatever, might be a little thicker, and so it's going to probably need a little bit more resin to absorb through properly. So I'm going to have to make sure I soak that pretty good. And then once I get that resin mixed up and get this all coated, I'm going to put it in the press here, and the press is just 2x4s basically that I set up. And I put a plate down here to keep everything straight, completely straight. You can see that's I do it there, nice and straight. No imperfections or anything on it. I need to take the sticker off before I do it, but that's it. And I just screwed it in on the sides here to hold it together. And then I just taped this down here because I didn't want anything sticking to this, you know. So that's how that goes. It's pretty straightforward. Let me get a razor and get this sticker off here. It may not make a difference, but yeah, it does not want to come up. You know what, in the grand scheme of things, it's a sticker. I'm not going to worry about it. If I can't get it to come up easily, it is what it is at this point. It's a test run anyways. Alright. So that's that. And then once I get this, the wax paper is so that the epoxy does not bind to the actual press. And so you just set this in here like this and fold it over the top when you're done of the material. And the two blocks will go on top and press down to get that press. I got a angle finder here to make sure that once I set it up and press it down, I can make sure that it's even and push it down so that I don't have it one side, you know, tilting or the other. So I want that to be at a nice 0 degrees when I push it down in there. As you can see right there, if you can see, let me zoom in a little bit. Sorry for the camera work. You can see that's at 0 degrees. That's where I want it to stay at. So I'm just doing this in my basement. Alright, so I'm gonna get started. We're gonna mix this up. And it's just pretty straightforward. It's just equal parts. I'm gonna set this aside for a second. Now, depending on how I do it, I cut these because I seen a video on YouTube, and they were talking about making sure that your micarta is, uniform. And this seems a little thick to me, but I cut this out from a little like shim, and basically I'm gonna use this as a stopgap to make sure that my block is pressed down evenly. I may or may not use these. If the angle finder is doing its job, it should not matter, and I can press it down. I just don't want it to be too thick, and then it would be a lot of sanding. Because if you look at this, this is let's say that's the width of the scales that I would be making, and then whatever the width of the metal is in there. That's not too bad, actually. That would give you a nice handle, actually. So maybe I will use these. I'll see when I get to it. So we're gonna get started here. So first we're gonna start off with pouring the epoxy. And we're just gonna pour this in there. And this is measured by volume. So I gotta try and get it to be the same amount. And so I use these little cups because they have a nice little line here that is like an indication of I can use as a marker. And so as you can see this, I just filled this up right to that line right here. Okay. Do the same thing here. Might have made way too much. We'll see. It says that you need to mix this for like 2 minutes and then pour the hardener into the epoxy, and then you pour it on to whatever you're going to put it on. In this case, I'm just going to put it in this little tray so that I can get the fabric pieces in there. Now I'm going to put on 2 gloves here, so that when I'm done, if I have any epoxy on my gloves, I can just peel them off and not spread epoxy everywhere. These are just regular, I think these are nitrile gloves or whatever, polyurethane. They're not the latex gloves, but whatever. I didn't have any dowels or anything, so I'm using Q-tips to mix my my epoxy. So I'm gonna set this here. So it says that we're just gonna mix this. It doesn't matter about the air bubbles or anything because we're gonna press that anyways. And I got this paper towel so that when I'm done with the Q-tips and stuff, I can just throw them on there, wrap it up, and throw that away so that I don't make a mess. And I'm going to mix this for the whole 2 minutes apiece. Pour this in. He said to use a different one here, so I'm gonna use this and just scrape this on out and get as much of that out as possible. And this is gonna start thickening up. There we go. Get as much of that out as possible. There we go. Drop that there. And mix this up. Now this is clear coat resin. It's supposed to dry clear and like high gloss. So I thought that might look nice with the knife handles and everything. Once I get everything on here, this has a natural high gloss to it. It might be nice, you know. Yeah, it's getting a little wet. That's the downside of using Q-tips. Next time I buy some stir rods or popsicle sticks or something. So I'm just mixing this up. Make sure that's nice and completely mixed. Nice thing is that the hardener and the resin is a little bit different shades, so you can kind of look in and see if you get swirls of color. I think this is going to be good. I'm going to go ahead and pour it so I can get started with this. So I'm going to just leave that right there. I'm going to take these. I'm just going to fold them up. Throw that on the floor for right now, out of the way. And keep moving. So I don't want this to set up. Take that. Set that down there too. So I use this. This is just a like a top to a Chinese like carry out or whatever. I use it because it was relatively shallow, so it'd be easy for me to dip the fabric in. So get that all in there. As much as possible. There we go. Set that aside. Shimmy, shimmy up. Alright, here comes the fun part. So I got this set up. Boom. So here we go. I'm just going to dip it in. Shake off the excess. There's going to be plenty of this. There we go. Take this. And here goes the first layer. I'm going to lay that down in there. Then I'm going to flip it up. Just like that. So lay it down. Now, the reason why I got these sides is because this is going to slip. So getting that first layer down, it's going to be crucial. Fan that out. Make sure it's not wrinkled. There we go. I'm going to keep going. Take that and layer it right in the mold. Make sure this one. It's so much already in there. Just take a little bit and dab it on top. Kind of smooth that in there. Yeah. So far, this is working out all right. It's a good call to use this wet wax paper. Let's see about this. I'm going to kind of dip it in like that. Flip it. Dip it in. Dip it in. This felt is going to be difficult. Smooth it down. One of the things they said is if you use a thicker material, you might run into a problem. But this is what I had, so make it work. And actually, after I smothered it a little bit, it seems like it's picking. The nice thing is that this is soaking it up. That worked out. Stick it in. These felt pieces are really the hardest part. Smooth it in there. A little pressure to help it sink in and soak up. But it just wants to sit on the surface at first. I don't want to use up too much of my resin. Should have probably used it all. The longer this takes, the more viscous it's going to become, and harder for it to soak in and spread. Yeah, that's why I got these gloves, and it helps. I can now use my fingers to kind of brush it in. Here we go. Now I'm saying I'm about halfway done. I think I'm going to have enough resin. In all the videos I've been watching, they said that once you put the pressure on it, a lot of the excess resin will squeeze out. So I think that the pressure will help. Two more of these felt layers. And that's, what I'm worried about at this point. Having enough. epoxy, so I'm going to skip this last felt layer. I'm just going to get these thin layers here coated real nice. Put a little pressure on it. Soaked in. Now I'm going to let this cure. This on the top. So, yeah, in the future, I don't think I'll use the felt unless I get a lot more resin. So you have this nice and coated with the remaining. I'm going to lay that right across the top there. Now, alright, so I got that in there. I'm making sure this is set up right in the middle so I can have even pressure over everything. Alright, so now that I did that, I'm going to set this aside. Peel off my epoxy coated gloves. There we go. I got these gloves, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold this over. Okay, I'm folding it over to keep that epoxy trapped inside so it doesn't squish all over the place. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this top brick on, or place it on. I'm just going to push that down. There we go. So you can see right now that's about even, and I'm going to keep it that way it is. I'm going to push this down. That wax paper is keeping everything inside so I don't lose it squirting all over my my press. So I put that pressure down. There we go. Line that up. Alright. So I didn't use these for this one. I'll come back to it and see. Like I said, we'll see if this works, but there we go. Alright, so now that I got that right there taken care of, we're going to go ahead and hook these clamps up. So these are just basic clamps that I got from like Harbor Freight. They're cheap. So I'm going to start on the ends here and just pick this up. I'm going to lock this side one in. just like that. I'm going to do the other side. This whole pressed up. The hard part now, we gotta tighten everything down, keeping everything the same. Even pressure. Get this other one. Come on. There we go. Slide this one under. Just sit right there. Alright. So now I'm getting some balance. One more press. Thought that I was going to try and get away with just using the 3, but it looks like I'm going to need 4 if I want to make everything even. I'm just going to fold that over. Like this part I don't necessarily need. What am I doing? Clamp down on it first. There we go. So now we take this, set it like this, and we're just going to turn it so you can see. So right now it's on 0 degrees this way, so we need to check it this way too. Check that one. So right now when I'm turning it, crank this side down a little bit. I think that's level. I think that's on all sides working out. As you can see, let's see here, a little bit of that resin squeezing out right here. That's why I got it on here. So that tells me that I had enough resin for it to be squeezing out. That's a good thing. I think this is level. Seems tight, so I'm just set this down. Now, just to kind of make sure. I'm trying to measure this. Let's see where we're at. Okay. So as you can see, I got some of it already leaking out right here on the sides. So now it's just a waiting game. I'm gonna wait to see what happens. Hopefully this is somewhat level. And go from there.